Why India is the nation everyone fears now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. With power, with truth, with fire, the world has changed. The old order is crumbling. The global stage has new players. And one of them is rising so fast, so strong, so unstoppable, that it is shaking the foundations of every empire, every alliance, every power that once thought it ruled unchallenged. That nation is India. And let me be very clear, this is not the India of the past that others underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed. This is the India that commands attention, that demands respect, and yes, this is the India that everyone fears now. Why? Because fear does not always come from weakness. True fear comes when strength, discipline, and ambition are combined into one unstoppable force. Fear comes when a nation refuses to bow down, refuses to be dictated to, and refuses to play small on the world stage. India is proving to the world that it will not be a follower, it will be a leader, whether the world likes it or not. The fear is not about weapons alone. It is about something more powerful. It is about determination. It is about resilience. It is about 1.4 billion people who are hungry for progress, for innovation, for greatness. A nation with young minds, sharp ideas, and unshakable confidence is the most powerful weapon in the world today. And this is exactly what India possesses. Look around: technology, defense, economics, space, manufacturing. India is charging forward in every direction. The message is clear. No longer will it be told to wait its turn. No longer will it accept the leftovers of global influence. It is building its own path, its own future, and its own destiny. That terrifies those who once controlled the game because they know the rules are being rewritten. The world fears India because it has discovered the formula for transformation: discipline plus vision plus action. For decades, others doubted its rise. They laughed. They ignored. But today, nobody is laughing. Today, they are watching closely, nervously, wondering how to respond. Because when a nation of such size, talent, and passion decides to rise, there is no force on earth that can hold it back. And make no mistake, the fear is real. Fear that India will dominate in technology. Fear that India will be a manufacturing superpower. Fear that India's voice will carry more weight than theirs. Fear that they can no longer manipulate or control this giant. Fear that a new world order is emerging and India is sitting at the table of power. So what do we do with this moment? Do we sit back and watch, or do we rise with it? Because the truth is, greatness is never achieved by spectators. Greatness is seized by those who step into the arena, who take risks, who put in the work, who dream big and then fight even bigger. Now is the time to learn from this rise. Now is the time to understand that discipline, unity, and ambition are the weapons of the future. This is not just India's lesson. It is a call to every individual who wants to be stronger, more fearless, more unstoppable in their own life. So I say to you, build your strength, build your vision, build your power. Do not let the world dictate who you are. Do not let anyone tell you what you cannot achieve. Rise with courage, rise with conviction, and rise with the fire that makes others pay attention. Because when you decide to be unstoppable, when you decide to be fearless, then you too will be the one the world respects, the one the world cannot ignore, the one the world fears to compete against. For decades, India was seen as the land of potential, but not yet the land of power. The West called it a sleeping giant, a country of promise, but not performance. People talked about poverty, about chaos, about inefficiency. They looked at India as a place that could only provide cheap labor, not leadership. But today that picture is gone. The giant has awakened, and it is no longer yawning. It is roaring. And when a giant wakes up, the whole world feels the tremors. That is exactly what is happening right now. The transformation does not come overnight. It has come through decades of struggle, sacrifice, and relentless willpower. You see, when a nation suffers, when a people endure hardship, they develop a muscle that others don't have. They develop resilience, and resilience is the one quality that separates the weak from the strong. India has been tested by colonization, by wars, by poverty, by countless challenges, and yet it never gave up. That endurance has become its secret weapon. The world looks at India today and realizes this is not a fragile nation. This is a nation forged in fire. Transformation is not only about the economy, not only about weapons, not only about numbers. It is about mindset. And India's mindset has shifted completely. Once it was told to wait in line, to follow, to accept whatever role the world gave it. But not anymore. The new India is unapologetic. It wants to lead. It wants to shape the world. It wants to show that its culture, its knowledge, its values, and its ambitions are not second class, they are world class. That confidence alone is enough to create fear, because confidence is contagious. And when 1.4 billion people believe in themselves, the world pays attention. What makes this transformation even more powerful is the youth. India is one of the youngest populations in the world. And young people do not want to live with old excuses. They want progress. They want opportunity. They want action. Every year, millions of young minds enter the workforce with energy, ambition, and creativity. They are not satisfied with surviving. They want to dominate industries. They want to build empires. They want to innovate at levels the world has never seen. This is the fuel behind India's transformation. The hunger of a generation that refuses to accept limits. When a nation transforms, it does not just change itself, it changes the balance of the world. Suddenly, those who once dictated terms are now forced to negotiate. Those who once looked down now must look across, eye to eye. India's rise has forced the world to treat it differently. No longer is it the junior partner in global deals. No longer is it the market to be exploited. It is the competitor, the challenger, the equal. And that is what shakes the old powers to their core. The fear comes from the speed of this transformation. Nations that took centuries to climb to power are seeing India move in decades. That speed terrifies them, because it proves that the future belongs not to those who are comfortable, but to those who are relentless. India is showing what relentlessness looks like. It is building, expanding, creating, pushing forward and not stopping for anyone. It is not asking for permission. It is taking its place. And let's be honest, when a giant that has been underestimated for so long suddenly stands tall, it forces everyone else to rethink their strategies. They wonder, how did we miss this? How did we fail to see it coming? That is the beauty of transformation. It surprises the world, but it does not surprise the ones who believed, the ones who worked for it, the ones who sacrificed everything to make it happen. The Indian people have always believed deep down that this day would come, and now the world has no choice but to face it. When we talk about the rise of nations, it is not only about land or population, it is about innovation, about the economy, about the power to create. And this is where India has unleashed its might. For years, the world thought of India only as a service hub, a place for outsourcing, a destination for cheap labor. But that outdated view has been destroyed. Today, India is no longer the back office of the world. It is becoming the brain of the world. It is building, inventing, coding, manufacturing, and innovating at a scale that is shocking to those who underestimate it. Technology is the engine of the future. And India is in the driver's seat. Think about it, India has become the software capital of the world. Its engineers and developers are not just supporting systems, they are designing the systems that run global companies. They are shaping the digital infrastructure of tomorrow. From artificial intelligence to cybersecurity, from cloud systems to fintech, India is producing talent that powers the most advanced industries on earth. This is not just labor, this is leadership. And the world fears it because once you dominate technology, you dominate the future. But it does not stop at software. India is leaping into hardware, electronics, and advanced manufacturing. It is building semiconductor plants, developing next-generation robotics, and pushing into green energy technology. The same nation that was once seen as only a consumer of technology is now becoming a creator of technology. And when a country of 1.4 billion people starts creating, the scale is unimaginable. This is what the old powers fear, because they cannot compete with that scale, that cost efficiency, and that hunger to grow. The economy follows the same path. India is now one of the fastest growing major economies in the world. While others struggle with stagnation, India is accelerating. Industries are booming. Pharmaceuticals, space technology, agriculture, e-commerce, digital services. Every sector is expanding. This is not luck. This is the result of discipline, of reforms, of vision. India has embraced entrepreneurship. It has embraced startups. And it has created a culture where dreaming big is rewarded. In the last decade, India has produced dozens of billion-dollar companies that started with nothing but an idea and the determination to fight. That is the spirit of transformation. Look at digital payments. In many developed countries, people still swipe cards. But in India, even the smallest street vendor, even the person selling fruit on the corner, accepts digital payments instantly. This is not a small detail. This is a revolution. A society that can leapfrog outdated systems and build new models becomes unstoppable. And the world looks at this and realizes, if India can innovate so quickly at home, what will it do when it sets its eyes on the global market? That is why the fear is growing. India is also rising in global trade. Its economy is not only serving its own people, it is connecting to the rest of the world. It is producing goods, services, and technologies that are in demand everywhere. It is diversifying markets, building stronger supply chains, and positioning itself as the alternative to dependence on single nations. That strategic shift is powerful, because it means India is not only competing, it is replacing, it is stepping into gaps and filling them with strength. That terrifies the nations who once held a monopoly. Another weapon India has is its middle class. Hundreds of millions of people are joining the consumer economy every year. This is a population that is young, ambitious, and hungry for products, services, and opportunities. When you combine a powerful domestic market with a booming export economy, you create an unstoppable cycle of growth. This is why international corporations are rushing into India. They know the future is here, but at the same time they fear it, because they know India will not stay a buyer forever. It will become a global seller, and it will dominate the game. What makes all of this even more dangerous for rivals is India's efficiency. It is not building slow bureaucratic empires. It is moving fast. It is solving problems creatively. It is showing the world that growth does not have to take centuries. It can happen in decades, and every decade India is multiplying its strength. This exponential rise is what terrifies the world powers. They look at India and see not only a strong competitor today, but a superpower tomorrow. When nations rise, it is not only measured in wealth or technology. It is measured in power, the kind of power that can defend sovereignty, protect interests, and project strength across the globe. And this is where India has shocked the world even further. Because for too long, people believed that India's military was large in numbers, but not in might. They believed it could defend its borders, but not project influence. Those days are over. Today, India has built a military force that is modern, confident, and respected. And that is exactly why the world is beginning to fear it. India's armed forces are no longer operating with outdated tools. They are building advanced defense systems, investing in homegrown weapons, and acquiring cutting-edge technology. From fighter jets to aircraft carriers, from missiles to satellites, India is making it clear that it will not rely only on foreign powers for its security. It is becoming self-reliant, and self-reliance in defense is the greatest sign of strength. Because when you build your own shield, your own sword, nobody can control you. And let's not forget the discipline and training of India's military. This is not just about machines. It is about people. Soldiers who are prepared for extreme conditions, who have fought on the highest battlefields in the world, who have faced adversaries across mountains, deserts, and oceans. This kind of experience builds toughness that no amount of money can buy. The Indian soldier is respected not just for bravery but for resilience, for the ability to endure, for the ability to adapt. That is why the world pays attention. The confidence is also reflected in India's strategic moves. It is not hiding behind others anymore. It is not afraid to take a stand. Whether in border disputes or global conflicts, India speaks with clarity and acts with precision. It does not bend easily. It does not submit to pressure. And this firmness makes other powers uncomfortable. Because when a nation of this size says no, it carries weight. And when it says yes, it can change the direction of the world. India's space program has added another layer to this strength. Satellites are not only tools for communication and science, they are also tools of defense, surveillance, and strategy. By mastering space technology, India has extended its vision beyond its borders, beyond its seas, and into the skies. This capability gives it an edge in modern warfare, where information and speed are as important as weapons. The launch of missions to the Moon and Mars was not only about science, it was a message. If India can reach space with such efficiency, it can master any battlefield. Naval strength is another pillar. The Indian Ocean has become a center of global trade, and India sits right at the heart of it. Controlling those waters, protecting those lanes, and building naval dominance means controlling the lifeline of many economies. That is why India is investing heavily in submarines, aircraft carriers, and advanced maritime technology. Because the nation understands this truth. The one who rules the ocean rules the future, and that makes others nervous. Strategically, India has also learned the art of balance. It is building alliances when they serve its interests, but it refuses to be tied down. It is strong enough to stand alone and wise enough to cooperate when needed. This independence in strategy is powerful because it prevents manipulation. The world is used to nations choosing sides, but India is choosing itself. That level of confidence sends a signal. It cannot be bullied. It cannot be bought. It cannot be controlled. The fear grows not because India wants war, but because India wants peace on its own terms. It wants respect on its own terms. And that is exactly why its strength is growing. It is not about aggression. It is about assurance. A nation that can defend itself so powerfully becomes a nation that nobody dares to challenge. This confidence, this clarity, this readiness, that is what makes India's military rise so important. Because when strength meets discipline and vision, the world cannot ignore it. Every few centuries, the balance of global power shifts. The old giants begin to fade, and new giants rise to take their place. We are living in one of those moments right now. The established powers of the last century believed they would rule forever. But history never works that way. There is always a new contender. Always a new challenger, always a new force that rewrites the rules. And today that force is India. That is why the world is nervous. That is why the world is watching. Because they sense that a new world order is emerging. And this time India is not sitting on the sidelines, it is standing at the center. The old world order was dominated by a handful of nations who dictated the rules of trade, politics, and even culture. They made themselves the referees of the global game while others had to play by their rules. But now India is refusing to accept that script. It is writing its own rules and it is demanding a seat at the main table. This is not just ambition, it is inevitability. With its population, its economy, its military, and its innovation, India cannot be ignored anymore. And the more it pushes forward, the more it disrupts the balance that has existed for decades. Fear comes from uncertainty, and the world is uncertain about what an India-led future will look like. Will it mean new alliances that bypass old powers? Will it mean new trade systems that break the monopoly of traditional markets? Will it mean a shift in cultural influence, where Indian voices, Indian values, and Indian ideas dominate global conversations? These are the questions keeping old empires awake at night. Because once the center of power shifts, it rarely shifts back. We are already seeing the signs. When global summits take place, the spotlight is now on India's words and actions. When conflicts erupt, nations look to India for mediation, for leadership, for balance. When industries need supply chains, when economies need partnerships, India is the first name they consider. This influence is not accidental. It is the result of decades of building credibility, of showing resilience, of demonstrating that India can be trusted, that it can deliver, and that it can lead. And leadership at this level changes everything. But what terrifies the world the most is the scale of India's rise. A new world order, led by a small nation, might not cause fear. But when 1.4 billion people step into the future together, that is unstoppable momentum. Imagine the power of a nation that combines the world's largest democracy with the world's youngest workforce, the most ambitious entrepreneurs, and the most determined innovators. Imagine what happens when that nation decides not only to participate in the global order, but to shape it. That is what is unfolding right now.
The world is used to seeing power concentrated in a few capitals. But now, that map is being redrawn. India is expanding its reach, not only in Asia, but in Africa, in Europe, in the Americas. It is building bridges of trade, culture, and influence everywhere. It is no longer the periphery, it is the center. And the thought of this shift rattles those who fear losing their dominance.
The truth is, no one can stop this change. You can slow it, you can resist it, you can deny it, but you cannot prevent it. Because history has already decided the old order is fading and the new order is rising. And at the heart of it is India, confident, ambitious, determined. That is why everyone is nervous, why everyone is calculating, why everyone is cautious. Because when a new giant claims the center stage, the script of the world is rewritten forever.